Remember that none of this matters. We're just doing this on the time that we've got left on the planet to pay bills, but working isn't our reason for waking up in the morning. Our family should be, our hobbies should be, our relationship should be, our health and our self should be. So remembering what grandma told us, right? Like, I think every rule that our grandmothers told us is really true. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that ratio. Be good to people. Why are entrepreneurs trying to guess what will make their employees happy? Why don't you ask your employees, what's one thing we can do to make this the best company to work for? Take the most common responses and just do that. I think CEOs need to get closer to the core of what they really do, and that is...
This is the Trade Stock Podcast. I'm your host, Justin White. Every week, I sit down with operators, leaders, and visionaries, both inside and outside the trades industry. The goal of this show is to compress decades of experience into a 1-hour conversation. The only thing I ask of you is, if you learn from the show and you enjoy what we talk about, is to please share it with someone you care about, because together we can all go further. With that, let's dive in. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Trade Stock. Very, 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 very excited for our guest, Cameron Herold, in the podcast studio today. Cameron, welcome to Trade Stock.
Justin, great to see you.
Well, guys, you probably have heard of Cameron from a number of books he's written or speeches he's given, or just the whole story behind 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Cameron, give us the elevator pitch, the 90-second or less background on who you are and what you've done in your life. I mean, I know you can't fit that in 90 seconds, but go ahead.
I'll try. Well, funny you just mentioned 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I just got back from having coffee with Brian, who is the founder. I was his COO for 6.5 years. I left 1-800-GOT-JUNK 19 years ago. I thought Brian was over in Paris for the year. He just got back a week ago, and I happened to be in Vancouver for a week, and I decided to rent an Airbnb in the same neighborhood. I'm like, it's too bad he's over in France. I'm not going to bump into him. 30 minutes later, he drives by, honks his horn. So anyway, we just had breakfast together. So it's funny to go back 19 years that, he and I are still friends. I started my business career 40 years ago. I was raised as an entrepreneur. I ran a house painting company for a group called College Pro Painters. I was a franchisee when I was 20, had 12 full-time employees. I went on to work for the head office for 4 years. I opened the West Coast of the United States for them. Kimball Musk was a franchisee of mine, Elon's younger brother, 40 years ago, sorry. Then I was, after leaving College Pro, I became a partner in a chain of collision repair shops. We built that up to be the largest collision repair chain in North America. It's called Gerber Auto Collision in the US, Boyd Auto Body in Canada. When we took that company public in 98, I became the president of a private currency business. We built and sold that company to another public company. Then I joined Brian, who was my best man at my wedding. We were best friends. We were in a mastermind together for 4 years. I joined him to help him scale 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And we took it from 2 million to 106 million in 6.5 years. Since then, I've been paid to speak in 30 countries. I've written 7 business books. I own a mastermind community called the COO Alliance, and that's my 60 seconds.
Cameron, wow, that's impressive. I mean, beyond impressive. As I've been preparing for the podcast, I've been able to do a bit of a deep dive on so many amazing things. And one thing that I admire most about you is the scale and gravity and volume you're able to bring to companies, to teams, and to stories like 1-800-GOT-JUNK, 2 to 106 million in 6 years. Can you tell me a little bit about when you first started to really build that type of volume? Has that just always been part of you as an entrepreneur?
In terms of the scale, or? Yeah,
the scale, just the size of businesses that you've built.
Interesting. So I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My dad ran his own company, small business. My other grandfather ran his own business, 30-ish employees, had a hunting and fishing resort that they ran for years. He retired at 52. And then my other grandfather was the CEO of a big public company that he built, but I never met him. He died when I was very young. So I kind of grew up around the smaller business environment. It was College Pro that really showed me the ability to have a business and scale a business. College Pro went on to become the largest residential house painting company on the planet. And every year we had to recruit, hire, and train 800 franchisees and then coach them for the entire summer to do $60 million in revenue in 4 months. and then 8,800 kids would quit and go back to school, and the 60 of us at the head office would do it again. So yeah, when I was in my mid-20s, I was part of a 30-person team that was hiring, training, and coaching 8,800 people. And I did it 4 years in a row with them. So my real training was in the hyper-growth, entrepreneurial, minimum viable everything space. So that just became very normal to me.
And one of the things that I've picked up through this process as of listening to you is just talking about this idea of removing the clutter and friction within a business. And everyone's focusing on artificial intelligence and how do we automate everything, but going to first principles and asking ourselves, does it even need to exist in the first place? Can you tell us a little bit how do you utilize that principle?
Yes. So years ago, I heard a concept of MVP, which stood for minimum viable product. And so I decided to coin a phrase called MVE, which is minimum viable everything, right? Just get it done and out the door. And while I was starting to look at that, like how can we just get whatever we're working on, a marketing email, just write it and get it sent, a blog post, get it done and publish it, a podcast, get it out the door. Once you get those things happening, a lot of momentum creates growth. And then I started looking at a lot of the work that people were working on, and I realized that sometimes people are working on busy work. If I told you right now to go and rake the yard, you could rake your yard every day. There's always another couple leaves, another couple twigs. There's always some blades of grass you notice. Like you could literally be at your home doing yard maintenance every single day, or maybe you can cut the grass once a week and once every 2 weeks and you're just fine, right? Yeah. So does it really need to be done? And so what I started to look at is instead of optimizing work or instead of automating work or instead of even outsourcing work, like hiring a landscaper, if I'm going to hire a landscaper, I have to say, I want you to come every 2 weeks or every 1 week. But if I said I want my lawn perfect every single day I come home, you might end up being there every single day and I end up paying for that work that doesn't necessarily need to be done. So it starts with thinking about what are you looking for? What's the return on that investment of people, time, and money? And do you need to do it? So just because it can be automated or outsourced or automated doesn't mean it needs to be done. So what I look at is for every task and project, can I stop doing it and just kill it completely? If I'm going to automate it, can I optimize it first, right? Can I get Claude or something to help me make the process faster and leaner and easier? Then can I automate it? If I can't, can I outsource it and have somebody in the Philippines or Brazil doing the work for me at, a third of what I normally pay? That's how I try to approach scale.
I really like this concept. And I think a lot of us are probably doing the same thing that our parents did, right? We're just kind of, and maybe a little bit faster and better and quicker, but ultimately you're proposing, and maybe this is even more true in 2026, is we really need to start thinking about what are the things we need to stop doing to get to the next level. And you kind of talk about this in your book, Double. Can you maybe explain a little bit how you see the generational transitions working right now with, go ahead.
And I love that you say that sometimes we're doing what our parents have always done. There's a story of a woman who, it was Thanksgiving dinner and she was putting the roast into the oven and they were doing a roast instead of a turkey. And she cut the ends off the roast and put it into the pan and put it into the oven. And the daughter, the 13-year-old daughter said, "Hey, Mom, why do you cut the ends off the roast to put it?" And her mom said, "I don't know. My mom's always done it that way." So Grandma's in the kitchen and they said, "Hey, Grandma, why do you cut the ends off the roast?" And she goes, "Well, I don't know, actually. I just learned that from my mom when I was about Julie's age, when I was about 13. Let's go ask great grandma. She's in the living room." So they all march over into the living room. They say, "Hey, great grandma, why do you cut the roast off of, or the ends off of a roast?" She goes, "Oh, I haven't done that in 50 years. And they're like, "Well, why did you do it?" She goes, "Well, our roast pans were very small because we had very small ovens. So we'd cut the ends off to fit in the," she goes, "You don't still do that, do you?"
I love that.
Right? So why the fuck are we doing so much of what we're doing? And what's and then at the end of the day, we only have 3 inputs. We have our people, we have time, like hours and days and weeks during the year, and then we have money. And what's the highest return on those 3 inputs? And if I spend an hour doing this, am I going to get enough of a return? If I spend some money, am I going to get enough of a return? Or do I even need to do it at all? I try to help companies. Like I was going on stage to speak at an event recently and they said, what are you speaking about? And I gave them and they go, yeah, but we always hear people talk about those three things. And I'm like, you know what? And they're not fucking doing it. So I'm
Yes.
actually going to shake them enough that they realize that business is actually way easier. And they're all like flies trying to bang their head on the window and they're going to get out the window and they all end up dead on the windowsill. So yeah, I might tell them what they need to do and they might hear it finally, because it isn't like someone asked me the other day, what are you doing with AI? And I said, I'm not. I'm talking to my customers. I'm spending a lot of time this month and this quarter speaking to my 175 members of the COO Alliance to really learn from them what would make this company bigger and faster and more referable, instead of just spending time AIing something. And they're like, oh, that's interesting, because they're not speaking to customers at all. You know, everybody is so distracted with the next AI tool to automate a bunch of stuff. Meanwhile, they've got 30% churn. They got 20% of their customers aren't referring and aren't super happy. They can't charge a premium because everybody's not blissed out. Why don't you go sit and talk to your customers and you don't need to AI anything?
And all of this, what you're saying, asking your customers, being curious, the 13-year-old girl in the story, it all starts with just being curious, asking questions.
And also remembering what grandma told us, right? Like, I think every rule that our grandmothers told us is really true, right?
Tell me more about that.
God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that ratio. You know, be good to people. A bird in hand is better than 2 in a bush. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, like I had a client recently that had 80% of his revenue from one client and he was super excited. I'm like, dude, that is a major threat. If that one client goes bankrupt or decides to switch stuff or shift half their business somewhere else, because like you're in trouble, man. So I wrote a book recently called Grandma's Business Secrets. And it's all of the little sayings that your grandma and my grandma and the grandmas all over the world have always said. And it's how can we apply those to business, right? And I think business is so simple, we overcomplicate it all.
And I agree. I think we continue to exponentially overcomplicate business, and the fundamentals always still apply.
Totally.
And so one thing I think,
like when I was working at 1-800-GOT-JUNK, I remember this as clear as day. 26 years ago, I went out in the trucks for half a day. I was supposed to go for 3 days because I was just starting the company. And I was going to go haul junk. And I came home at the end of or not at the end, I came home at lunch on the first day and I was getting changed into my street clothes. And Brian's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm done. He goes, dude, you've been in the truck for like 4 hours. I've been in the truck for 10 years. I go, I get it. We pick stuff up, we put it in a truck, we get rid of it. That's not what we do. He goes, yeah, we do. You need to understand. I go, it's about connecting with the customer, delivering on our quality focus areas, delivering on our core values. We have to charge 40% more than we're charging now because you're not making money. They're not making money. Nobody's making any fucking money. And we need to build a cult to be able to attract all the people in the franchisees. It's not about junk removal. And he's like, holy shit. I think CEOs need to get closer to the core of what they really do. And that is, are my employees really, really happy? Do my employees have the tools and the support and the confidence and the connections to do their job? My number one metric in every company isn't my revenue, how long I've been going, how many markets I'm in. That doesn't matter to me at all. The number one metric is my employee net promoter score.
ENPS.
If I know how happy my employees are, then my second most important metric is how happy are my customers? What's my customer net promoter score? If I have super happy employees, they work longer, they work harder, they collaborate more, they don't quit, they refer their friends, they recruit others to come and work. It's just like they're going at 100 miles an hour. Because of that, they're taking care of my customers. They're doing work easier. We're more profitable. We get better margins. I can charge whatever I want because I get super happy customers and really motivated employees. All of a sudden, revenue and profit just flows in. But if I'm always focused on more revenue, more growth, make our customers happy, then my employees feel burned out and unloved and uncared for.
Can you tell me what you think the number one thing that CEOs are doing that they believe is helping build a strong ENPS score and employee engagement, but is actually hurting them?
Yeah, it's like you've seen this as well. You know, you see the rich family, right? Wealthy dad, wealthy mom. They want to give their kids a better life than we had. Like I grew up with it hard. I want to give my kids everything. I buy my kids a new BMW when they're 16 years old. And they have all these kids that are very entitled and spoiled brats. They have kids that are 18 years old with egos like they're a 50-year-old who's built it all on their own. Meanwhile, the kid has done nothing. They've never even had a part-time job, and they're walking around with Louis Vuitton and Gucci and like, what the fuck have you done? You've raised spoiled brats who are really entitled.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs do the same thing when they give all these perks and 401k matching and free massages and free lunches and look at all this cool cushy space we've got. Meanwhile, they have employees that don't like each other, don't trust each other, aren't living the core values, are all they care about is more vacation time. So they've focused on perks and they've built this entitled, spoiled, low culture people. What I want to do is hire people that obsess about our core values, that want to fire the C players, that want to fire the underperformers, that only want other A players around them who are obsessed around the core values and core purpose and our vivid vision. And they're all working hard together and they don't want the C's even around them. They'd rather play shorthanded. And because they know that I love them and trust them, then I can start throwing some perks at them once in a while as thank yous that are unexpected, right?
So you've said that most companies think they have A and B players, but they really have B, C, and D players.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So if you're putting a job posting on Indeed or Glassdoor or Craigslist or Facebook, if you're putting out a job posting and actively looking for people to come to work for you, you're getting C players because there's not a single A player that is ever looking for a job. A players have jobs, they're crushing it, they're driving everything hard. And the only reason they're going to go and work for you is if you poach them and bring them into a better company culture than where they're already working. So the only people that are ever looking for jobs are B's and C's. Most often interviewers have had no training on interviewing. So they talk a lot, they sell their company, they're showing how great everything are. They're trying to attract people to come and work for you. And that scares the shit out of the A's and B's because they feel like you're overselling and there must not be that good. So they run away. The C players end up joining you because they're so excited to work for this great company with all these perks. The A and B players want to be tested. They want to jump through hoops. They want test projects. They want to be grilled. They want to walk out of interviews going, wow, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. I want in, right? But because we don't sell that way and we don't push that way and we recruit from the wrong places. So what I like to do is to really, push to have my current employees and my current customers sending me more good employees to come and work here. I like to have a company culture that the media talks about and writes about and we win awards to attract, even if you're a small company. And by the way, anybody who's like, oh, I'm in lawn care, I can't do this. We did it with house painting. We did it with garbage, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And I did it with auto body, fixing cars and car accidents. You don't need to be a sexy business to attract, like look at Uber did it with, people driving cars around. You can, Uber Eats, delivering stuff. You don't have to be a sexy industry to build a company culture. And let me give one last example. Please. I've been to the head office of Microsoft and I've been to the head office of Google. Both of them are tech companies. Both are on the West Coast of the US. Both have billions of dollars in cash. Both should be kind of cool company cultures. Google is a cultural icon. They've always been one of the best places to work. They're like a magnet for tech talent. Microsoft is like a morgue, because they never had the discussion about culture. Microsoft was building this great code. Google was about culture. So you have to choose culture.
And you can feel it when you walk onto their campuses.
Oh yeah.
You can feel it from the outside.
Yeah. And by the way, like here's another example.
Yeah.
How many people have you hired into your company? Or how many interviews have you had to end up with the people you've hired to be in your company?
Literally thousands.
Yeah. So
well
you personally,
into the 3,000. Yes, me personally.
Okay. How much training have you had from coaches, consultants, courses, not just a book on interviewing, but how much training have you had on how to do proper job interviews?
Probably 10 to 12 hours of actual training.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
That's way better than almost anybody that I've ever spoken to. Now, 10 to 12 hours and you've done 1,000 interviews, you might actually be better off getting some more job interviewing experience, right? I talked to a CEO one time. He goes, yeah, I've interviewed 100 people. I've hired 30. I don't need training. I'm like, maybe you've done it wrong every time. He's like, oh shit. Like, has anyone videoed you doing a job interview and giving you feedback? Has anyone given you a system and helped you role play and practice the system to grade a resume, to do open questions, closed questions, to use Torque, to use active probing? Has anyone ever listened to you do reference checks and give you feedback on how to do reference check calls? That's what training needs to be. So most entrepreneurs show up and say, oh, it's really hard to find good people. It's like, no, you suck at interviewing, right? Or I just hired somebody. I'm going to give them 90 days and we're going to see how they do. That's disaster pants, man. I want to know before they start that they're going to be really good. Otherwise, I'm going to keep interviewing until I know for sure that I know everything there is to know about them, so that the day they start, I know I've got 30 days of training them so that I can get them up to speed by the date I need them to be running.
I completely agree with this. I think we're rushing our interview process, and I don't think we're doing it. We've changed our interview process over the last 4 years. Threat of reference check is something that we love, and we always do a 3x3 interview, which this is after the screening, after the phone call, after the survey. Predictive index is what we use. We do 3 in-person interviews on 3 different days with 3 different groups of people. But we've changed one thing in the last year. Is Jessica, who's our chief people officer. She is in every single interview as a note taker and a debrief. You can call her a bit of a trainer. She debriefs with whoever was doing the interview on our team after to tell them, hey, you could have done a little better here, or you talked a little bit here. But the best thing about Jessica is we intentionally ask the same questions, 3 of these same exact questions every interview, and they're deep questions. Like, what's your belief about something?
Yep.
And then she sees how consistent the person who is interviewing really is to see if they're truly answering the question on what they believe, or they're just saying what you think that we want to hear.
Let me give you a challenge. I want Jessica using Claude to set up a Claude agent that can sit in on every one of these interviews instead of her, doing exactly what she does, creating the same output report that she normally does, so that somebody can replace her $100 an hour, a few hours, so she can continue to work on bigger strategic projects. That's something that she could use Claude to actually replace herself with. That would be fucking amazing.
I love this because we were just running into the issue with 160 employees going into multiple regions. Jessica can't be in all interviews. We're literally reaching that point as of right now.
Claude can literally listen to a transcript and come back and tell you what you missed, what you should have poked holes on. What they can take the 3 different interviews and merge them better than she can. So she's probably spending 4 hours for every 1 hour interview to cross-reference the 3x3s and put those reports together and coach people on something. And they only needed a 15-minute briefing that Claude can totally do. And by the way, then you can take it from Claude and dump it into ChatGPT and say, cross-reference this for me, tell me where we missed. She'll be able to build this using code over the course of a week or 2, and then she'll be able to free up all of her time to continue to work on other high project stuff. Anyway,
I love this example.
Your free coaching for
that's why I love doing podcasts. I get to interview some of the best people. This is amazing. And okay, so I want to keep going on culture just a little bit, because I do believe that culture is the number 1 KPI. It's, ENPS is ours. What are some of the ways that fundamentally, the small things, we've talked about a few, but what are a few more small things that you guys have done or you've done in your businesses that has really made a outsized impact on culture? Small thing, big return.
So one was every 6 months, we actually do an NPS, a Net Promoter Score survey. We send out 1 question to our entire employee database. We say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how enthusiastically would you recommend this as a place to work? We take the number and then we use the proper NPS formula. The 9s and 10s are your promoters. Take the percentage of 9s and 10s. You subtract the percentage of people that give you a 1 through 6. Those are your detractors. You end up with a result of somewhere between negative 100% and positive 100%. So the benchmark is first. Then on the thank you page, we say, thank you for your result. What's one thing we could do to make this the best company to work for? Every other 6 months, we say, thank you so much for your result. What's one thing we can do that doesn't cost money that would make this the best company to work for? Did you grow up like in a family with Christmas?
Yes.
Did you ever write a letter to Santa Claus?
Yes.
And then your mom walks you down to the mailbox and you put it in the mailbox, and 6 weeks later, you're like, oh my God, Santa bought me everything on my letter. No, Justin, your mom bought you everything.
I never got it.
Huh?
I was gonna say I never got everything. We got one thing, but
Right,
yes,
one
Santa
thing.
didn't
Yeah.
buy it.
And right, exactly. But it's like, how did Santa read your mind? Santa didn't read your mind. He read the letter. Why are entrepreneurs trying to guess what will make their employees happy? Why don't you ask your employees, what's one thing we can do to make this the best company to work for? Take the most common responses and just do that. Be nicer to us, celebrate core values, fire the assholes, have an open door policy, have town hall meetings, give us better metrics, give us better training, love bomb us more, give us Friday afternoons off in the summer so we can go hang out on patios with our friends, give us more vacation time. It gets so easy if you just give them what they want instead of trying to guess. I had an employee one time that said, I don't want a 401k matching plan. I want you to teach me how to invest. I want to invest like you do. Having a 401k matching plan and not know how to invest it is stupid. But you seem to really know how to stack up, and you've been investing your whole life. Like, teach me what you know. And so I just ran a stock buying, I taught compound growth. I taught dollar cost averaging. I showed people how, this was like 20 years ago. I told all my employees in 2003, start buying Amazon stock every month or two for the next 20 years, and you'll be really happy.
So happy.
I have some that have been doing it for 20 years.
And
that's way better to do that than, so that's what I do to really drive employee engagement, employee net promoter scores. Just ask them what makes them happy and do more of that.
I really love this because I think us as CEOs and entrepreneurs, we think we know what's best, and we go and then try to assume what our employees want. And if we just ask them and then use our knowledge, use our action, most of us are quite smart. We've been able to figure some things out in life. We can actually teach those very simple things like investing to people who've never had that opportunity to learn. And I want to go into the relationship though between a CEO and a COO. And Cameron, this is like, I think the foundation of the majority of your work, and something that I personally my life changed 4 years ago when I hired John Wint, our now COO. I had my confidant, my right-hand guy, the guy that I can ask, talk, and share anything with. Can you tell me just a little bit about the framework of COO and CEO and how important that is?
Are you involved in a mastermind at all? Are you in a mastermind community where you're growing your skills, your connections, your confidence?
Yeah. Yes. I've been in Vistage for 8 years, and then I had a industry-specific peer group that I was with for about 4 years.
Awesome. Get into 2 others. Like you always grow. Like if the best athletes on the planet still have coaches, get like, maybe you outgrew Vistage. Awesome. Now join EO or join YPO. Maybe you outgrew your industry one, join a different industry one. Every entrepreneur should be in 2 industry or 2 masterminds, one from your industry, so you learn the best practices from your industry, and one that's non-industry, so you get ideas having sex and you get, you're outside of the echo chamber. But you need to grow your skills, your confidence, and your connections. Is your COO in a mastermind?
He is. He's in Vistage, and he's in a industry-specific peer group.
Okay. Now, Vistage is good because it's key executives, but what I would suggest is get him into the COO Alliance. Yes. Put him into a mastermind community that's only COOs, not marketing managers, VPs, CFOs, but only COOs. Get him immersed with those COOs, and then get him to go to either the MIT event or the event in Barcelona, the event in Vancouver. We have 3 in-person events every year. Get him to go and get to meet and know and like these other peer groups. I have a member of our COO Alliance. He's in his 8th year of business with us as a member. He runs a company called Redirect Health. And this year, he was going to stop being a member. He's like, I've been a member for 7 years. I want to do something else. You know what his CEO said?
What?
If you're the COO here, you will stay as a member of the COO Alliance. The CEO said, I've been in Genius Network for 15 years. I've been in Strategic Coach for 17 years. I've been in the Entrepreneurs Organization for 20 years. If you're my COO, you stay in the COO Alliance.
It's that powerful.
Guy's back in, man. He's in again.
Yeah.
So get your COO into a group so that they're learning. So you both need to learn. You both need to grow your connections, your confidence, and your skill sets. That's number 1. Number 2 is you and he and the rest of your leadership team need to remember who your most important team is. Do you ever watch any US football?
Yeah, for sure.
I have to say this because I've got audiences that are like think football is soccer.
Who's your favorite, especially right now.
Yeah. Who's your favorite US football team?
49ers.
Okay. So you got the San Francisco 49ers, you've got the wide receiver for the 49ers, and you've got the offensive team, the special teams, the defensive team. For the wide receiver of the San Francisco 49ers team, what's his most important team?
Well, the wide receiver team, but ultimately the 49ers, the entire team.
The only team is the 49ers.
The only team. Yes.
His second most important team is the offensive team.
Yeah.
What I love about football is when the defense is on the field, the offense is watching. When the defense comes off, they high five, they slap them in the ass, they tell them what they saw happening out on the field. They're fucking cheering each other on. Then like the special teams is always watching and cheering each other on. They are one team. Your head of operations needs to remember his most important team is your company. When I was the COO at 1-800-GOT-JUNK, my most important team was 1-800-GOT-JUNK. The head of finance, Hendra, his most important team was 1-800-GOT-JUNK, finance second. Roman, the head of IT, the most important team was 1-800-GOT-JUNK, IT second. So each of us understood our first team. You and the COO need to remember that you're like the mom and dad in a family. You are the most important relationship in the family. The only way that the kids will feel love bombed and supported is if they know mom and dad love and support each other. So mom and dad come first. Everybody else comes second, which means date night. It means happy house, happy spouse, right? It's like taking care of each other. So make sure that you and the COO have time away from the rest of the team, have time to stay in love with each other, like play together, do stuff together, stay on the same page together, support each other. His job is to make you look good. Your job is to make him look good. And then you're allowed to argue and fight and debate, but not in front of the kids, not in front of your siblings. You need a space. Brian and I would literally fight it out, but never in front of the team or the board. But we had a private room that we would go to, or we'd walk and talk, or we'd go for a run and we'd argue and debate. And then we'd come back together. And they were like, God, how come mom and dad are always together? Because we had a space to go and work it out. We worked with counselors. We hired coaches to work with us on relationship. And, you know, we even hired a marriage coach to work with us for a while, Joan Mara, to coach us on becoming a tighter partner, right? So that's something that a good couple needs to work on. The next one is roles and responsibilities, is really understanding what your role is and what his role is and what your swim lanes are and how to stay out of each other's lanes. So often, I was coaching a company called Hennessy Digital, and the CEO, Jason Hennessy, said to me on a call one day, and his COO was a fourth-year member of the COO Alliance. Jason said, everything's going so well right now, I feel like I need to go break stuff. I'm like, no. Let's give you some core projects that excite you and you're really good at, and let's get you to do those, but no more seagull management. Jason used to like to swoop in, shit all over by everybody on a team, and then he'd get bored and he'd fly away, and Scott would have to come in and clean up the mess. That's something you need to avoid. So you need, as the CEO, to have a system called skip level meetings where you know how to go meet with people that don't report to you, but you don't fuck everything up. And then a way to get back in sync with your COO. You need those meeting structures. And then lastly, it's almost like the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Mm-hmm. Men need to learn how to speak female. Females need to learn how to speak male. When my wife wants to tell me about her day, I just put the basket out and she keeps telling me all the cool stuff about her day. And I just keep asking questions and she keeps telling me, and she feels so heard. And if she's frustrated, I'm just like, that must be really hard. And you just keep catching all the cool shit and then I'm done. But if she asks me how was my day, she needs to know that when I say great, that's all I need to say. I'm good.
Right. You just need, short and validation.
And so I need to learn that I'm not a hairy version of a female, right? I need to learn how to speak like her and communicate like her, and I need to understand why they problem solve the way they do and why they just need to think out loud. I need to understand them. COOs tend to be fact finders. They tend to put systems in place. When a COO wants to start a project, they need to do all the research first. They do the who, what, when, where, why, and how. They put systems in place. They put playbooks in place, and then they start. Entrepreneurs tend to start the project and figure it out as we go.
Yes.
So we like to dump projects on their lap, and they want to ask us questions, and that pisses us off. They need to learn to say, I love that idea. Let me ask you a few questions so I understand it more. Let's go for a quick walk so you don't feel chained to your desk. And let's walk and talk, and I can ask you to understand your idea even more because I love your idea. And after I spend 7 minutes asking you questions, you feel heard and validated. And then you're like, you know what? after talking about it, let's kill it. Or after talking
Yeah.
about it, let's do it, but not till next year.
Yeah.
Or let's start this. And he goes, okay, we got 10 projects now. Which of the 10 should we bump? But that's because you've learned how to speak to each other. That's something we spend a lot of time with our COO Alliance members on.
Yeah, basically a filter for the CEO's crazy constant ideas that we're throwing out there every day.
And a filter for the COO's ideas to come up to you so that you can hear what they're seeing, what they're feeling, right?
Yes. And so you said skip a level meeting. Sorry, you said skip a level meetings. Can you explain what a skip a level meeting is and how you run a great skip a level meeting?
Sure. The idea is that you skip over a direct report. So when I learned this I had a mentor who was being groomed as the COO at Starbucks. And every month we did a 1-hour call, and every quarter we did a full day in-person meeting. One quarter I would go to his office in Seattle. One quarter he'd come up to my office in Vancouver. And he was growing me and mentoring me and helping me scale. We did it for 2 years. And I was all excited. He was coming up to Vancouver, and I had the whole agenda planned out, what we were going to work on and all the things I wanted to discuss and where we were going for dinner that night. And he goes, so I'm coming in on Tuesday morning. I just need to know what time dinner is. I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll be going through the whole day together. And I got all lined up. He goes, no. He goes, I need to meet you at dinner because I'm doing skip level meetings today. I'm like, okay, what are skip level meetings? He said, I'm meeting with every one of your 8 direct reports one-on-one for an hour without you in the room to learn about you.
That'd make anyone nervous.
That
would make anyone pretty nervous.
Shitting myself.
Yes.
But so he went in and just said, how's it going? What are you guys working on? What do you need support with? Where do you not feel loved? Where do you feel like too much is being dumped on your plate? Where do you feel micromanaged? What can Cameron do better? What should Cameron continue doing? Is there anything that you don't want me to tell him about? And then at dinner, he basically took it all with like the old version of ChatGPT, right? And he gave me my 1-page plan to work on. Holy moly, amazing. However, he was good enough to know that he was only getting one side of the story. So he would skip over me and learn from a bunch of people and pull it together. And he also never said, we'll fix that, because he knew there might be another side of the story. He just said, thank you. That's incredible. I appreciate that feedback. When he came to me, he'd get the other side of the story, but I also heard a very unfiltered side because I allowed him to skip over me and talk to my team.
What an incredible thing to do as a CEO for your team. And you pointed out a really good thing that we need to highlight is when you're doing this as a CEO, your gut instinct is going to be try to fix all the problems you hear and you see, like give solutions. But like you said, you can't do that, right? You got to do what you do with your wife. Like just, all right, tell me more. Thank you. Tell me more.
And that's a skill that we need to learn, right? So
right.
Anyway, that's, I think the kind of common part of it is, I heard a really interesting part from Bezos recently, Jeff Bezos from Amazon. He said, when I was scaling Amazon, I single-handedly had the ability to kill my company. Yes, because I had so many ideas that came to me so quickly that were seemingly random to the people that were already working on a plan and working on the business, that I had to slow down my speed of delegation. And so often the entrepreneur doesn't know how to keep all of our ideas. So and we're overwhelmed, and it's almost like our brain is a hard drive and it's full. So in the absence of having a system to take care of our stuff, we just tell people to do it. What we really mean is, I don't have a place to keep this idea. Can you store it somewhere and deal with it at some point in the future for me? The COO's job is to pull all the ideas out of our brain, understand all the ideas, prioritize all those ideas for us, and decide which ones to green light, which ones to yellow light, and which ones to red light. And then we know our ideas are safe, they're in a system, and we can go back to idea generation. We can go back to being the thought leader, thinking about the future, thinking about SWOTs, skip levels, looking at spending more time with mastermind events and learning and growing.
Well, you talk a lot about learning. It's clear that you're a lifelong learner. What are some of the things that we can do to just be better learners out there?
One is to shake the scars that we got from the school system I think the school
Yeah.
system really screwed up 95% of students. If you were an A student, what were your grades like in school?
Me, I dropped out of high school when I was 17. They weren't
Okay, so you
great.
probably have a very similar background to me. You were told to sit still and pay attention. If you could only
Yep.
try harder, and here's another C minus, and here's a D
Yeah.
plus, and you're like, why am I learning this shit anyway? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. But the emotional scar of being told you were stupid and you're not trying hard enough, and or even you just trying your best and seeing you get another 62% where Kelly gets an 84, and you know you're smarter than Kelly. She gets a 96, and you know you're smarter than her. That killed me for
Same.
18 years. From kindergarten until university, I was told I was dumb. I knew I wasn't, but it emotionally fucked me up. In the workforce now, I think we need to unlearn some of that to realize we don't have to be the smartest person in the room anymore. We can put our hand up and go, I don't know how to do this. In fact, not only do I not know how to do it, I don't even like doing it. Who can do this for me? It's like, hey, I don't like science. I'm going to get Kelly to do my science project, and she and I are going to submit them together, but I'm going to do the keynote speaking or the public speaking that she's afraid to do. So I'm going to do public speaking for both of us. I'm going to get us the A plus. She's going to do the science project for both of us. She's going to get the A plus. We both get 2 A pluses. That's how it works in the business world. So I think entrepreneurs and leaders and anyone managing people needs to be comfortable in going, I suck at this. I don't know how to do this. I don't want to do this. And then us going, cool, let's get someone who likes to do it, or let's get you a coach or a mentor who can do it for you or help you do it. But we also don't need an A plus. Like no one, do you know this, that no one has ever asked you for your grade 10 report card?
Right. No, no one's ever asked me for my diploma either.
Correct.
Like,
They
no one
never
cares.
will. None of the grades that we thought mattered actually matter to anyone in the world. My grades were horrible. I got a 2.7 GPA and I had a 64% average in high school and 66 in university.
Barely made it.
But here's what I learned. When I was in second year university, I was really stressed the night before my final of managerial accounting. My dad said, well, what's your grade going in? I said, my grade going in is 74%. He goes, you're going to be fine. I'm like, Dad, I don't know any of this. He goes, sure you do. You got 74. I'm like, no. I paid a guy 13 weeks in a row to do my accounting assignments.
Yeah.
I failed my quizzes. I failed my midterm, but because I got A's on all my accounting assignments, I got 74. He goes, what do you think you'll get on the final? I go, maybe 50. He goes, okay, you'll graduate. You need to get like 34% on the final to graduate. I'm like, yeah, I think it's 36. He goes, what did you learn? So I'll tell you one thing. I learned that I don't like accounting, and I learned how to find somebody to do the work for me. He goes, yes, you learned how to fire or hire your first accountant.
That's huge.
Huge.
That's huge.
That was such a gift for my dad to say, you learned how to hire an accountant. Instead of saying, you're an asshole, you should have tried harder, you low life, you should be memorizing accounting. I don't like accounting. It's fucking confusing to me. It's hard. And I have dyscalculia and I transpose by numbers. We need to give our employees, all employees, we need to remove that fear of minimum viable everything. We need to remove that fear that they need to be perfect. We need to remove that fear that they need to be smart. We need to celebrate somebody who puts their hands up and goes, I don't like this. I don't know how to do this. I suck at this. And somebody else goes, I got your back. Let me help you.
I've got a question on this. So if I am trying to hold an extremely high standard in my company, but I'm also trying to embrace this idea of minimal viable everything and let's just fail quickly and get this thing out. How do you balance those two inside of a company?
Couple things. I like the whole fail fast, fail forward. However, don't keep failing at the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like failing quickly is fine, but not failing the same thing over and over again. That just means we're being stupid. So be okay with a mistake happening. Create a culture of people don't fail, systems fail. So when something goes wrong, what's the missing system or the broken system for that? My mentor at Starbucks told me a saying one time, or a story. He said that the CEO at Starbucks had called him and said, why is the letter B on the sign at 50th and Wallingford in Seattle not working? Greg said, I don't care.
Yeah.
Howard said, you better care. Greg goes, no, that's not the right question. Howard said, okay, what's the right question? Greg said, the question we need to ask is, what system is missing or broken, or what system can we put in place to ensure that every letter and every sign at all of our 11,535 locations are always working. Howard goes, okay, what's this? He goes, I don't know. I'll find out though. I'm going to put a system in place. Well, when you think about from a systems level or first principles level of what system is missing or what system is broken that allowed that thing to fail, and you can put your hand up and go, I failed. And you go, cool. You spotted an opportunity for us to systemize something. Failing doesn't mean you fucked up. Failing means we have another opportunity to automate and optimize something with a system so we don't need to rely on you. Do you know do you know why we have police and radar detectors and speed traps and speed limit signs and deaths because of speeding? Do you know why we have all that?
No, I don't.
Because we don't have a system in place to ensure that all the cars drive at the proper speed. Do you ever golf at all?
All the time.
Okay, you know when you're in a golf cart and you end up like in the parking lot of the golf course and it drops down to 5 miles an hour automatically because the RFID chip shows that it's just off the cart path?
Yep.
All we need is every car to have a governor in place based on a certain thing that, like, if we're in a 50 zone, it can only go 54 miles an hour, period. You could fucking step on the gas as much as you want, and that governor prevents the car from speeding. No more police, no more radar detectors, no more speed traps, no more speed signs, no more accidents. But nobody wants the perfect system. They want to blame people for shit.
Yeah.
In a business, I don't want to blame people. I want a culture of where my people feel like it's okay to make a mistake because I get to put a system in place so I don't have to do that anymore. Or I drop the ball because I'm carrying 12 balls. I can put some systems in place so I only need to carry 5. Or I'm working on stuff I don't even love. We can delegate that to people who love that, and I can work on the stuff that they don't love. Like I've been paid to speak now over 800 times in 30 countries to entrepreneur groups. I love it. I think it's amazing. There's some people out there that would think that is their personal hell. Right? Like to go and have to stand on this. If you said today, hey, Cameron, can you go speak to a group of 1,000 people tonight for an hour? Fuck yeah, let's do this, man. I'm in.
Let's fucking go.
I don't even need a topic. I can go on stage for an hour and just talk as long as I know who the audience is. There's other people that would think that is my personal hell. Kill me if I need to go on that stage. So why are we going to make them go on the stage? Why are we going to get them a coach to learn how to go on a stage? Why are we going to help them figure it out and read books? They suck at it. They don't like it. But they might like to work on research or polishing slide decks or, I don't know, whatever they like to do. Accounting, right? I have a guy who wanted to work in accounting. I'm like, kill me slowly, like poke my eyes out if I had to work in accounting. He's like, I went to school for, I'd love to work in accounting. Why don't we build these unique ability teams and give people the confidence to say, I don't know how to do that and don't like it. And that's applauded and that's, that's a celebrated because anyway, that's how you scale.
This is incredible. And it makes sense because you can celebrate the failure or celebrate the mistake by installing a system to fix that mistake. So it's not relying on people in the future. And
you know what? I often hear people going, well, yeah, that doesn't really happen in some blue collar jobs. Disagree. I had a guy, Brian Evans, who cut my grass every year for 10 years, every week. And Brian would show up at my house covered in grass crap, hands all dark from grass shavings or whatever the fuck he's doing. So happy. So happy. I'm like, Brian, oh, this is the best day ever. I'm like, how's work? Oh, it's so great. I'm outdoors. I'm in the sun. I'm chatting with people. I don't have to be chained to the desk. I love my life. Man, you hire guys like Brian to cut grass. They just think the world is incredible. So
if you have people who
know
are
what
not
you're looking for and go find them.
Yeah, that's it. Go find them too. You said that earlier is don't go post on,
you know what else is cool? Brian only hangs out with people like Brian. Because people that do marketing and desk jobs don't understand Brian. We think he's fucking cray-cray. So all of Brian's friends are guys that like to cut grass. So I just say, hey, Brian, I got another grass cutting job. It's $40,000 a year. If you can find me somebody who gets that, I'll give you a $20,000 bonus to find me somebody. I'm going to pay you $4,000 a year for the next 5 years, $4,000 at the end of month 12, $4,000 at the end of month 24 for the next 5 years, as long as you're still here and that guy's still here. Yeah. Nobody quits. Everybody recruits their friends. A players hang out with A players. Problem solved. No more recruiting. Easy.
And everybody's making more money, which I love.
Everybody's banking bank because nobody's quitting. Everybody likes everybody, high culture. And you know what? Brian and his buddy Fred don't want Kelly coming to work because she doesn't want to be there anyway. So they just work harder and they get paid on a like a per diem or a piece rate basis. They don't want to get hourly. They want to like pay me how much to cut a grass and I'll cut it quick and properly.
This is the future. Man. This is the future. Landscaping has not figured this out yet. Home services kind of has. Like Tommy Mello has really pioneered this, and along with others.
Coached Tommy.
You had, I listened to your guys' podcast.
Tommy's COO is a member of our COO Alliance as well.
There we go. I got to get John into that. And as soon as we can, and we're working on figuring it out, but it's like marketing dollars. Instead of giving a marketing agency and spending all this money, it's like you wrote the book, Free PR.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity to turn your marketing dollars inwards. It's the same thing with recruiting. You don't need to go pay a bunch of recruiters. Just pay your employees to be recruiters and hire great A players and keep them happy.
I learned this when I was 20 years old. I went up to the university gym in Sudbury, Canada. I walked into the gym and I said, "Hey," and all these guys stopped playing basketball. I'm like, "I'm looking to hire some students who want to make money painting houses. This is what I pay. If anybody wants a job, come and talk to me." This one guy walks over. His name is Mike Smith. Remember it as clear as day. I told him about the job. He's like, "This is amazing." He goes, "How many are you hiring?" I go, "I need 9 people by the end of next week." He goes, "I've got 3 roommates. We would all love to paint houses." I'm like, "What do they do?" He goes, "1 plays rugby for the university, 2 are on the basketball team, 1 plays football." And I'm like, "Yeah, bring them to my house tonight." All 4 of them came to my house tonight. They started the next day. Those 4 guys worked for me for 3 summers.
Wow. That's really good for college
because
kids.
A player, like a university athlete doesn't hang out with somebody who smokes pot and eats nachos. That's just, it's fucking weird to them, right? They hang out with athletes. They hang out with team players. You want team players? Hire people who play on teams. You want people that are goal driven? Hire people that wake up in the morning training to be on a sport and managing a job and managing a girlfriend. Like they want to work hard.
Oh my God. Cameron, we could talk for hours. I really appreciate everything. We're going to wrap it up. My one thing I end every podcast with is what we call our trade secret, our one piece of advice or lesson learned, something you'd like to leave our audience with.
I guess my big trade secret is to remember that none of this matters. We're just doing this on the time that we've got left on the planet to pay bills but working isn't our reason for waking up in the morning. Our family should be, our hobbies should be, our relationship should be, our health and our self should be. I didn't realize that as much as I should have when I was 20 running my house painting business. And I lost some friendships because my friends that came to work for me that summer and moved 5 hours away to come and work for me had fun after work. They played a lot of basketball and they hung out on the beach, like at my house on the water. And I was always working, being busy. And I should have done more people by day, paper by night. I should have spent more time with my friends, delegating more, disconnecting more, and enjoying the journey a little bit more. Because the death rate is the only metric that is still perfect, right? It's still 100%.
We're all going to leave at some point.
We're not getting out of this alive, so we may as well enjoy the journey.
What a great way to end it. Fantastic talk today. Thank you so much for coming on Trades Talk. And guys, go give Cameron a follow on Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things. Check out his COO Alliance. I know you guys got an event coming up, so check that out too. But Cameron, thanks so much.
Hey, Justin, you're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Trades Talk, where the next generation of disruptors comes to raise the bar. If you got value from today's episode, share it with someone in the trades who's ready to level up. For more tools, insights, and community, follow host Justin White and join the movement at jwhitegroup.com.